Hello and welcome to this video dedicated to analyzing international relations in West Africa. In a context of diversification of diplomatic partnerships for Burkina Faso, a question arises. How does the recent defense agreement with Pakistan fit into the country's bilateral cooperation strategy? We will explore this topic factually, drawing on historical and current elements to better understand the current issues. Relations between Burkina Faso and Pakistan are part of a broader framework of South-South cooperation, marked by modest but progressive diplomatic exchanges since the independence of both nations. Burkina Faso, formerly Upper Volta, gained independence in 1960 under President Maurice Umiogo, while Pakistan did so in 1947. The two countries, members of the Organization of Islamic Cooperation, OIC, since 1975 and 1969 respectively, share common positions on international issues, as recognized in UN resolutions and OIC reports. Historically, Burkina Faso has experienced a succession of military regimes influenced by regional security dynamics, particularly since the 1980s with the revolution of Thomas Sankara, which emphasized national autonomy and non-alignment. Sankara, assassinated in 1987, laid the foundations for an independent diplomacy, avoiding excessive dependency on Western powers, as documented in the diplomatic archives of the African Union. Pakistan, for its part, has developed expertise in defense and military training, forged through its alliances in the 1955 Baghdad Pact, a regional security agreement that included Iraq, Turkey, and the United Kingdom, according to historical sources in the Encyclopedia Britannica, and more recently through its participation in UN peacekeeping missions. Over the decades, events such as Pakistan's participation in peacekeeping operations in Africa, such as those in Sierra Leone in 2000 under the auspices of the UN, have opened avenues for collaboration. Reliable sources, such as the annual reports of the Pakistani Ministry of Foreign Affairs, indicate that Pakistan has provided technical assistance to several African countries in terms of training and equipment, without direct involvement in Burkina Faso until recent years. This cooperation intensified in the 2010s with limited trade, approaching $5 million annually according to World Bank data, and discussions on agriculture and energy. Since 2022, under the leadership of Ibrahim Traoré, Burkina Faso has reoriented its diplomacy towards diversified partnerships, including Russia and China, as noted in analyses by the French Institute of International Relations, IFRI. Pakistan, with its established defense industry, including local productions such as the JF-17 fighter jets developed with China, represents a potential actor for strengthening local capabilities. This historical context underscores a shift towards pragmatic alliances focused on mutual development and stability, without ignoring the persistent security challenges in the Sahel region. Recently, relations between Burkina Faso and Pakistan have seen a notable development with the signing of a defense cooperation agreement during an official visit by a Pakistani delegation to Ouagadougou in July 2025. According to a press release from the Burkinabe Ministry of Defense, published on July 15th and relayed by the Burkina Faso Press Agency, this agreement provides for the training of 500 Burkinabe officers in Pakistan, as well as the supply of non-lethal equipment such as transport vehicles and communication systems. Ibrahim Traoré, president of the transition, presided over the signing ceremony, emphasizing the importance of this partnership in strengthening national capabilities. This initiative is part of a series of diplomatic moves. In May 2025, a bilateral meeting during the OIC summit in Istanbul laid the groundwork for this agreement, as reported by Dawn, a reliable Pakistani daily. Pakistan, which has already trained African contingents as part of UN programs, extended this offer to Burkina Faso in response to a formal request from Ouagadougou in March 2025. Official announcements indicate that the first training session will begin in October 2025 at the Pakistan Military Academy in Abbottabad. At the same time, Burkina Faso has diversified its security partnerships. In January 2025, it received Chinese armored vehicles at a ceremony presided over by Traoré, according to Army recognition. The agreement with Pakistan complements these efforts, focusing on training rather than large-scale deliveries. Geopolitically, this reflects Burkina Faso's membership in the Alliance of Sahel States, ESA, with Mali and Niger, formed in September 2023 and strengthened at a summit in Niamey in July 2024, as documented by RFI. Algiers has expressed interest in similar cooperation, but the Pakistani-Burkinabe agreement remains bilateral. These developments illustrate a proactive approach to modernizing the armed forces, with an emphasis on exchanging expertise. The defense agreement between Burkina Faso and Pakistan calls for a balanced interpretation of bilateral and regional issues. On the one hand, it responds to a recognized need for local capacity building, aligned with UN priorities for peacekeeping training, as outlined in reports from the Department of Peace Operations. Pakistan, with its experience in multicultural training, offers an accessible partnership that promotes self-reliance without excessive dependency, in contrast to more restrictive past collaborations. On the other hand, this initiative is part of Burkina Faso's diplomatic diversification, where exchanges with non-Western actors aim to balance regional influences. Analyses by think tanks such as the International Crisis Group highlight that such agreements contribute to increased stability by promoting skills transfers, while taking into account the logistical challenges for a landlocked country like Burkina Faso. The focus on human training rather than costly acquisitions illustrates a pragmatic approach, potentially adaptable to other OIC partners. This situation highlights the opportunities for intercontinental cooperation, where each country contributes its strengths to achieve common development and security goals. A neutral perspective suggests that these partnerships could enrich technical exchanges in the long term, while respecting respective sovereignties and existing multilateral frameworks. In short, the defense agreement signed with Pakistan under Ibrahim Traoré's leadership marks a step in the diversification of Burkina Faso's international relations. These developments highlight the complexity of diplomatic dynamics in West Africa, influenced by considerations of cooperation and stability. Only time will tell how these choices will influence regional balance and bilateral partnerships. Thank you for following this analysis. See you soon for other current topics.